What's going on, Knicks fans? It is NBA trade deadline day, and if you're an NBA fan, it's one of the best days of the calendar year. And if you want the Knicks to make a trade, to be active, like this video. I think if we get to 1,000 likes on this video, Leon Rose, he's going to have to make a trade. But seriously, if you want them to be active and make a trade, go down right now and hit that thumbs up icon. Welcome into New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green, and in today's video, we're going to be touching on the latest trade rumors surrounding Cam Reddish. Yeah, Cam Reddish, the person the Knicks just traded for back on January 15th. They traded Kevin Knox and a first-round pick to acquire Cam Reddish, the lofty forward that has a sky-high ceiling, the 6'8", versatile scoring forward. But he came to the Knicks, and he sat on the bench for the first 5 games, and then he played like 25 minutes over the next 7 games. But there was a report that came out that Tom Thibodeau was not on board with Leon Rose in making the trade for Cam Reddish. He cited that, hey, how are we supposed to give Cam Reddish minutes when we traded Kevin Knox, someone that was out of our rotation, and we want Cam Reddish to play? That means he would have to have taken somebody out of his rotation, and he didn't feel like it was fair. So pretty much, Tom Thibodeau, he didn't want to make the move, and an NBA source came out and put this quote out in an article and said this: "Word around the league is when Knicks president Leon Rose moved to strike a deal with Atlanta on January 15th. The head coach wasn't all in on the move. From my understanding, Tibbs didn't want him, and they did it anyways." And this is concerning for me as a Knicks fan and someone that loves the New York Knicks. We need Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau to be on the same page. You can't have a disconnect between your general manager, your player president of personnel, or player personnel executive like Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau, not on the same page. That's what bad organizations do, and that's what the Knicks have been for as long as I can remember. They want to get back on track. Tom Thibodeau, if he's going to be the guy of the future, and Leon Rose need to be on the same page. And the fact they weren't when it comes to this Cam Reddish trade is disheartening for me as a Knicks fan. We're going to talk more about a team that's coming out that Ian Begley reported is aggressively pursuing Cam Reddish. We'll get to that report in just a quick second. But first, I want to know where you all stand on it. Let me know. Should the Knicks trade Cam Reddish? He hasn't had the minutes. Tom Thibodeau's not a fan. Maybe they can get something back for him. I want to hear from you first. Type T for trade or type K for keep. Ian Begley put this out this morning on trade deadline day, and he said this: the Los Angeles Lakers have been aggressive in their pursuit of Cam Reddish as the trade deadline approaches. In a couple prior days, he said this: in discussions between the Knicks and at least one team, maybe that was the Lakers, Cam Reddish's name has been discussed, reports SNY's Ian Begley. It's unclear if the Knicks offered Reddish in talks or if the teams asked about him, but the Knicks hadn't immediately shut down the conversation. The fact that Cam Reddish's name is getting brought up means that he is valued across the NBA, across the association. The fact that you gave up a first-round pick for him to get him in, and then you're just going to trade. You traded for Reddish, and then just have the idea to trade him again is weird. It doesn't make sense if you trade for a player and you just want to trade him again. It reminds me of Dave Gettleman when he signed Odell Beckham. He said, look, we didn't sign him just to trade him. And then 3 days later, Odell Beckham was packing his bags, heading to Cleveland. It was unfortunate, but hey, stuff in the NFL and in the association change on the flip of a dime. And I could see Cam Reddish getting moved, and it would suck because I am really high on Cam Reddish, and I think he has a very high upside, and he's just touching the floor of what he can be as an NBA player. We'll continue to break down this rumor and show you a proposed trade from the Knicks and Lakers. But first, I want to remind you guys to subscribe. If a trade happens today, or if a trade doesn't happen today, we're going to be making another video. So make sure you're subscribed. This is a one-stop shop for all Knicks news and rumors all year long. Just because the trade deadline is going to pass doesn't mean our coverage is going to die down. It's going to ramp up. Go down and hit that big red button right now. And we are currently live. We went live earlier on our main Chat Sports channel because deals started piling through. So go to youtube.com/chatsportstv and join the live stream. The thumbnail, it looks like this. So click on it. My guy Chase Sr. and Harrison Graham, they are live right now, taking shots, answering questions, breaking down all the NBA trade rumors, and they're talking shop with everybody that's in the comments section. So go join them. It's a party. Chatsports.com or youtube.com/chatsportstv. This is a Cam Reddish trade idea that I cooked up, and I'll let you know how I feel about it in a second. But making the salaries work when it comes to the Los Angeles Lakers was pretty tough. I had the Knicks receiving Talen Horton-Tucker, Wayne Ellington, and Kent Bazemore. Ellington and Bazemore were essentially salary cap matching pieces. And I also tossed in the 2027 first-round pick, lottery protected. That's the first-round pick that the Lakers can trade. So they can't trade a pick until 2027. Then the Lakers would receive Cam Reddish and Alec Burks. Alec Burks trade rumors have started to pop up. And if the Lakers are serious about trying to make Cam Reddish a Los Angeles Lakers, I'm going to need a first-round pick and a young player like Talen Horton-Tucker that has a high ceiling. I'll tell you exactly how I feel about this trade in just a second, but you be the GM. Sit next to Leon Rose. Sit in his chair. I'm sure he's got a nice, real big, comfy one somewhere in MSG. Sound off. Would you make this trade? Type A for accept, or if not, and you're like, no way, we can't trade Cam Reddish. We just got him. Go down in the comments and type D for decline. Even though I cooked up that trade offer, I would decline it, and it's because I love Cam Reddish's upside. There are not just 6'8" wings that can put the ball on the deck, create their own shot, drive to the lane, be a force in the open court like Cam Reddish is. Those type of players don't grow on trees. And I know it's a point guard league, but the best teams in the NBA have versatile wings that are good on the offensive end, are versatile on defense, can get out and run, create their own shot, and knock down open threes. And that is what Cam Reddish is as a basketball player. The reason he was one of the highest rated recruits coming out of high school, a lottery pick coming out of Duke, even though he had a down year at Duke. Cam Reddish is kind of like that thing that you just hope one day it becomes a great player, but I actually believe if he gets put in a position where he gets to play, has the right influences and mentors and a good coach, they can make him a great basketball player. Alan Hahn, the creator of the Knicks Fix Facebook page, he now works in the MSG studios. He works on game nights, and he said this: I try to find Cam Reddish a place where he will be where he will get playing time. If he's not going to be in the rotation, it's not right to lock him on this bench. He didn't ask for this move. Unfair to the young players to have brought him in here and then leave him to sit on the bench behind others. Unless, of course, I trade a vet who is ahead of him and then a spot in the rotation opens up. Cam Reddish, he didn't demand a trade from the Atlanta Hawks, but he asked for a trade. And it was because he wasn't getting playing time with the Hawks. And the fact that he's now sitting on the bench because Tom Thibodeau didn't want him to be a Knick is unfair to Reddish. Just trade Burks. Trade Burks and give Cam Reddish his minutes. We'll continue to talk about Cam Reddish later on in the video, but I want to tell you guys about our awesome sponsor of today's show, Fanatics. Valentine's Day, it's right around the corner. You can get this awesome crew neck, or you can get these fuzzy socks for your girl, or maybe you haven't got your girl a Valentine's gift, and she's a Knicks fan, and you can get her this top and bottom set. We got men's gear, the crew neck, the fuzzy socks, women's stuff. All type of Knicks gear is on sale, and you can only get it if you go to chatsports.com/KnicksVday. I know it's just a couple days away, but it's never too late to get your loved one a gift. I love getting my loved one Knicks gears. We're all Knicks fans in my family, so you do the same. Go to chatsports.com/KnicksVday. If you're trading Cam Reddish, after you just traded a first-round pick to get him, you got to be getting a first-round pick back. And I think you can if you're just dead set on trading Cam Reddish, which I don't think the Knicks are. I think the Lakers are in a hot pursuit of Reddish, and they are listening to the phone calls. Leon Rose is taking calls from the Lakers, but I don't see an actual Cam Reddish trade happening. I think there's too much potential around him, and you already gave up a first-round pick to get him into Madison Square Garden. Just trade Burks. Trade Alec Burks for whatever. If it's a salary dump, if you got to attach a second-round pick, trade him and give those minutes to Cam Reddish. It's time to flush the season. It sucked. The highest moment of the season was after game 1 against the Boston Celtics when the Bing Bong video went viral. Since then, it's all been downhill. Bench the vets, trade the vets, and let the young guys play. These are the Knicks trade chips when it comes to guys with contracts that can be used in a trade for a player with a higher salary, and guys who I'd like to see, frankly, all get traded. Mitchell Robinson, I do have some hesitation about because he's young, he's 23, but at the end of the day, he's going to be a free agent this offseason, and he can command somewhere from $10 to $20 million per year. We just saw multiple centers in last season's free agency get crazy contracts. Mitchell Robinson, he's young, he's athletic, he's a rim protector. He's for sure going to get a big deal. I'd like to see Kemba Walker get traded. He's not nearly the same player he is. Having him on the books next year for $8.5, $9 million, that would sting. Evan Fournier, he's been solid since about the midway point in the season. He's a great shooter. He's not a great scorer. He doesn't play much defense, but at the end of the day, he can get hot and carry you in games like we've seen multiple times this year. Alec Burks, we touched about him. I don't want him on this team next year. I'm just over him. He's a good player. He's a good bench team. He carried the Knicks in the playoffs against the Hawks. He had some big games this season, but at the end of the day, you just got to start the youth movement. And the same goes with Nerlens Noel, a 2-year, $18 million deal. Him and Burks, as well as Fournier, have an extra deal on their deal, but they are team options, and I don't expect the Knicks to pick those up. Let Jericho Sims get those minutes for Nerlens Noel. I really like the way he looked in the last game. But predict it for me. The trade deadline is just a couple hours away. Will the Knicks make a trade before the deadline? I'm hoping so. I just want something to happen. Trades are fun. They're interesting. They give you false hope as a fan. Maybe it'll turn into real hope if they make a trade. But go down in the comments and predict it. Will they make a trade before the deadline? Type Y for yes or type N for no. And one of the first places you can hear about a Knicks trade happening is on my Twitter, @MarshallGreen_. I'm going to tweet it out, then I'm going to get in the lab with my producer and get a video out for you guys ASAP. So hit me up, give me a follow, @MarshallGreen_.